KickStart is a social enterprise with a mission to take millions of people out of poverty by enabling them to make a lot more money. And since 80% of the poor in Africa are poor rural farmers, we do this by selling them human-powered irrigation pumps. This allows them to grow high-value crops throughout the year, and especially in the long, dry, hungry season when the prices of crops go up by a factor of 10 to 20 and they can make a lot of money. Africa is actually where there is the largest portion of very, very poor people with the smallest opportunity of a pathway to get out of poverty. There's more poor people in India, but there's more of a pathway out of poverty in India than there is in Africa. The pump, because irrigation is the number one thing a poor farmer can do. Because simply growing more crops during the rain-fed harvest is not going to get them out of poverty, because already 15 to 50% of those crops go bad before they can be processed or sold or eaten. And then 3 or 4 months later, everybody's hungry and the price of food goes up. And unless you can shift your production into the dry season, you simply will never make enough money to move forward. Social impact is really however you want to define it. In our case, it's poor families making enough money to be able to get beyond survival, to be able to get beyond simply providing enough food for their kids, and get beyond simply sending their kids to school, but actually now having enough money so they're no longer worried about survival and they can actually invest in their futures. And so that means now they can start investing in other businesses and have taken this first major step out of poverty and continue up this ladder out of poverty. Of course, the definition has been really mixed up, and some people think it's all about making profits and doing good and doing well, and other people think it's simply about having a big impact. My personal feeling is that it's using entrepreneurial thinking and entrepreneurial activities in order to solve major social problems. I think one of the big challenges right now is the turn towards impact investing. I believe that there's an impact investing bubble, in that there's a huge amount of money going that way and very, very little deal flow, and that impact investing is never going to solve the biggest problems in the world. The biggest problems in the world are caused by major market and major government failures, and with major government failures, it's going to take a lot of money, and major market failures, it's going to take a lot of money in order to solve those problems. The market isn't going to solve them. And the bigger the problem, the bigger the failure, the more subsidy is required. There have been many, many hiccups. Of course, developing the model, being able to prove that it actually works, developing the technologies. But the biggest challenge right now is actually raising the money required in order to scale it. And if we can't raise that kind of money, we simply can't take it to scale. And one of the challenges there is when you want to scale something, you have to invest in the center. And what I mean by that is you have to invest in people and systems, and that initial investment in people and systems doesn't always immediately translate into scale. Nonetheless, the donors only want to see the numbers scale up, and so that takes time. And when you're solving a major market problem, a major market failure, it takes time for sales to take off also. So I think the challenge is having enough money and enough patience to really see the change happen. Get out to the field, live in the field, spend time on the ground, realizing what the real problems are and what the potential real solutions are. It probably took me 4 or 5 years living in Kenya before I really feel I did anything that could be at all useful.